just asking what you all are up to at Pristine and what's new there.
Oh, what we're doing is obviously getting a lot of orders that are coming in, processing them, making sure everything's listed, especially now before the holidays.
Oh, okay. So this is the busiest time of the year then for you is the holidays.
It's definitely getting busy, yeah.
And are you all still actively going to trade shows? Like how's the trade shows going for you?
Yeah, we just last weekend we're at the Chantilly show in Virginia, and it went pretty well.
Oh, awesome, awesome. What did you notice there when you were there?
What was that?
What did you notice there when you were there? Like what made it a good experience?
Oh, just the amount of traffic, how many people are still buying the cards, how many people are, what the prices are. Obviously, with the market going down a little bit, we're still seeing a good amount of traffic with people obviously still interested in buying, even whether it goes low end or high end cards.
Hmm. So, hmm. So okay, you did notice a dip in the trend. And so the reason I bring that up is because what do you think you would attribute that to? Since there was a big boom during COVID, and there's usually market corrections, but I mean, is that coupled with everything else that's going on in the market, or is it a standalone kind of a thing? Because there's a lot of people with expendable income in the market.
Well, I'll kind of give you an idea. I've been in this business since 1988. So I've seen ups and downs when it comes to pretty much everything, whether it was the junk era in cards, whether it was the grading boom, then the grading dropped, the mid 90s being soft to that. Um, right now, it's a combination of, I think, multiple things going on. Obviously, COVID, you saw the boom because people had disposable income. You had the free money, obviously government money that was coming in. Plus, people were looking for the next thing to invest. So they looked at sports cards not only as collecting, they looked at it as an investment.
Mm,
What's going on now, I think, is a bit of two things. One, that disposable money is no longer there. Two, the economy is definitely taking a drop. So I think now people are, with gas prices, the inflation being what it is, I think a lot of people are no longer looking at this as an investment. It's more back to the hobby part.
yeah, and
I mean,
so
there still is investing in it. It's just not what it was before. It wasn't you go to a card show, you buy a card for $100 and you flip it for 150 to the next person. You flip that person flips it for 200. That's not going on anymore.
mm,
You're now seeing more of a strategic buying. If you're trying to flip stuff, you're trying to find stuff really affordable, just to be able to make a few dollars on something. It's no longer you go into a Walmart or a Target and buy boxes of cards for $20 and sell them for 100. That's not happening anymore.
mm. So how does that change the interactions between businesses and consumers and um
Well, interaction, for example, for like me, is I could go up to somebody right now that, for example, you're wanting to sell cards through me. My comps are still getting between 15 and 20% higher than eBay currently. The big plus on that is when we're listing something for somebody, we're listing one, maybe two items of that at a time versus like an eBay that has 50 to 100, 200,000 items of the same thing up at the same time. So the exposure where I can help somebody out that is looking to sell stuff, I can actually go up to them and say, hey, I could get you more for that card than you could get on eBay on average. Plus, any card that sells for over $25 with no reserve, I can offer you 0% seller fees. So that 0% seller fee. Now, if you're selling, thousands of dollars worth of cards a month, and all of those being over $25, all that money is in your pocket versus paying a percentage to like an eBay or other auction houses. So it's just an advantage, especially with the market being down, that it puts more money in the consumer's pocket or the seller's pocket at that point.
Hmm. And so how do you make money doing that if you're not, because you're
How
still
do we
doing
make money? We make money
yeah,
through the buyer's premium. So when a buyer buys something, they pay the 15% fee of whatever that item sells for.
right. Oh, okay, got it.
So it's all on
So
the back. It's reversed of like eBay is upfront from the seller, we're from the buyer. So it's just reverse is how it is.
okay. Hmm. And well, it seems like you have to get really creative in this kind of market, because there's a lot of contraction going on uh and changes and um sounds like margins are very, very thin for businesses and what would you suggest as far as you know people that are interested in buying and selling trading cards and um anyone that's interested in even just collecting just to have them, you know uh what do
Well,
you think is the
what I suggest to everybody, and I've done this whether it was the pandemic or not, and like I said, I've been in this business since 1988. So I've seen it from, the craze in the late 80s, early 90s, through pretty much dark times in the business, the late 90s to really the early 2000s. When grading first started, that was kind of the elevation of stuff in the business. And then that cooled down for a number of years until really about 2016, 2017 is when the card market really started to pick up. And then obviously throughout the pandemic, it just hit levels that it probably never will again. What I suggest to pretty much everybody is to buy smart. When you have a player, just even recently at Aaron Judge that was setting, the American League record for home runs in a year. A lot of his stuff, true, wasn't jumping like stuff was during the pandemic, but it's also something if you're buying, say you go on eBay after watching a game where he hit the 60-second home run, you're buying at the ultimate high is how I call it. So you're no longer buying it in my terms as an investment. You're buying it to hold, hoping for something else because the odds are 2 weeks down the road that card will dip in value because obviously, the spur of the moment thing, pretty much in any sport, somebody breaks a record or somebody passes away, items usually go up that day, maybe the next couple days, 3 days. After that, it cools down. So I always, when I talk to anybody about, buying items, I always say buy smart. Pick your right times. Maybe, like last year, Mike Trout got injured. When he got injured, that was a good time to buy his cards, especially when it's one of the greats of all time. You could pick up his rookies, 40, 50, 60% off their highs. And then obviously when he does good, they get back to the regular values. So that's how you invest. It's the same thing with like Shohei Ohtani cards. I explain to people all the time, when he won the MVP, all of his cards were extremely high, but off season you could have bought them for half the price. So it's always best to buy off season is how I look into this business, especially right now. You could go to a card show just like I did at Chantilly. I was buying $50, $60 cards for $5, $6 a piece. They're out there. You could find them in bins, and it's easy money that you could turn 3-4 times automatically, even on eBay. But you have to look and try to buy in more of a collection versus buying individual.
Oh, say more about that. So as opposed to like an individual player or an individual set, you mean like a collection of.
Yeah, I like to buy in bulk is how I like to buy. So, even when I negotiate deals, when I'm buying something, whether it's on eBay or anything, I always look at the seller's items, whatever they have. I try to put together, 20, 30, 40, 100, depending on what the dealer is selling, cards. That way you could bulk together a price, and you get the item down. You could pick up $20 cards, say 10 cards at $200 is what it would cost if you bought them individually. You could probably get them for 150, 140, which comes down to $14 a card at that point. And then that's how you get your margins up, because then if you're going to sell them, say you list them at $25, now you're making $9 a card versus making $5 a card. You buy it in bulk.
I see, and it seems like so. What you're describing is that, like, how in the market you buy low, sell high. You're just applying it to cards and just kind of looking at the time and the situation and circumstances. Just picking and choosing when is the best, most opportune time to pick up on something.
Absolutely. Some of it, you have luck involved. I mean, you could buy stuff and the player has a ridiculous game the next day and his stuff doubles in price or goes up. I mean, there's bad luck involved. You could buy, whoever, like let's say right now in football, you buy Josh Allen cards and they're extremely high right now, and next week he gets hurt and season ending.
Yeah, I think Kellen Mond was like
automatic.
I think Kellen Mond was like a big bust. Like his rookie cards
it
were
happened
selling
a few weeks ago with Tua. Tua was red hot his first few games, and then he had the concussion. His cards dropped in half, pretty much overnight. Now they're picking back up again, but it's just, people that bought it at that exact, right before his concussion, probably just say on his base cards that were going for $40, $50, say they bought them for $50, a week after that, they could have bought them for $30, $25, $30. It's just knowing the market. Timing is everything, obviously, in this business. If you're in it to hold stuff, it doesn't, what I'm saying really doesn't pertain to that. It's just for more the people that are looking to buy and sell quick, it's all timing right now. Right now is a great time to buy if you're, trying to get into this business, because, stuff is very affordable right now. Not everything, but based on what it was a couple of years ago, I mean, it's a big difference right now. Big difference.
Yeah, I think that was part of the big boom in breaking was, being able to, well, one, you could get your favorite team or favorite player and just kind of focus on that, which is cool. But part of it, I think, is like a byproduct of some of these high-end cards going for more than cars. They're super expensive and they're unaffordable for most people. So it's just easier to just kind of hope you get a hit in one of those spots that you get.
I mean, it's still going on. I mean, you hear about it. I won't say daily, but I mean, there's auctions all the time that you see. Oh, this card sold for 6.5 million. You know, the market at the top levels is still doing fairly well. It's not what it was, but I mean, you bring in an item that somebody wants that's very limited, you're still going to get the money because there is money still out there.
Mm.
It's just, it's not like me and my friends, we talk about it. A lot of the stupid money is out of this business right now because the stupid money was in this business about a year and a half ago to 2 years ago. It was people were buying, you know, $5 cards for $40, $50, and they didn't care. You know,
Mm.
it was the kind of the conversations I had with multiple friends at that time. It was, you know, eventually that's going to wear out because how much money can you lose and still be in the game? I mean, imagine all those people that bought stuff for $50, $60 that now are worth $3, $4. They'll never get their money back. I mean, they're getting pennies on the dollar now.
Yeah, yeah.
And that happened to a lot of people. And that's why you're seeing a lot of the market correct itself right now, because a lot of that money is gone. Because either they spent it, either they just got out of this business because of the fluctuation, how bad it is. It's honestly, a lot of that was like you're buying a company at full above retail value, and then all of a sudden the company goes bankrupt. And that's
Right.
pretty much what was going on.
Yeah. Hmm. That was a lot to really take in with what you said there, because there's so many different factors that go into it, and um, you know, with the high-end cards, if you were saying, you know, if you have something that's desirable enough, or you know, something that somebody wants, someone will pay for it. But as far as like all the rest of that goes, you know, I think your assessment is very spot on.
Well, to me, I look at it, it's really no different investing in sports cards as it is the stock market. You know, you're not only at the mercy of the player, which is the company, you're at the mercy of the market. You know, because, you know, player could be doing spectacular. The issues could be one, the economy's going bad, you know, the money's not in the market anymore. You don't have the buyers like you did a while ago. You don't have people fighting for the card. You know, anything. I mean, for me, why I've always enjoyed this business and why I tell everybody, because it's not just like when you're investing in companies, you're buying stock. When you're investing in cards, you not only are investing in maybe your favorite player, maybe your favorite team, but it makes it more fun because you actually have a piece in front of you. So it's not like a stock certificate that's a piece of paper. In most cases, you don't even get that. It's you actually physically have that card that you could trade with people. You know, if you need money, you know, on a rainy day, say you want to buy a car or your car breaks down, you could always turn that piece of paper, cardboard, into cash. And that's how I've always done it since I was, you know, 12 years old. You know, I either do a card show, I do a flea market, you know, go to another card shop and trade it for something else, whatever it was. It makes it fun, makes you feel like a kid. And that's what I
Yeah,
love about this business. It's because it's fun. It's, you know, like I'm blessed that I have a job, that I work at a company that I get to have fun all day because I enjoy this. I love going to card shows. I love talking cards. I love giving my opinion on stuff because realistically, you know, it's fun. And I think a lot of people should get into this business for the fun of it, not just for the investment part.
yeah, and it's a very passionate community, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you know, um, that's something that I don't think can be really understated. And you know, it's all about community. And um, in what ways do you think we can foster that kind of energy, um, and bring more people into it? That's because it seems like, yeah, all the people that were just here for the money are not here because there's no money for it, like there was. So um, how do you infuse the fun into it while people, because you could still, you know, for some people you can make like you were saying, if your car breaks down, if you have some kind of on a rainy day, you could just like look into your attic and see what's you could just turn into some money. But um, what other ways can you have some fun with it aside from like trading nights and uh, you know, I guess more events. I don't know. What would you suggest?
No, it's to me, it's if I could give advice to anybody, and like I just said a second ago, is it's a great business and it's also a great hobby at the same time. You know, it, it's everything. It's literally like having a bank account in your house or a bank vault in your house. It's something you could learn the business in, whether it's sports, you could read stats on the back of the card. You could, you feel like you're part of the team. You know, whenever you go somewhere, you go to a card show, you could talk to people about players. You talk about statistics, like say you do fantasy football based on even sports cards. You learn about the players based on the stats that are on the back of the card. So to me, it's, one, it's educational. Two, you learn about the player, a team, whatever you want to do. And then again, it's money. I mean, it literally every card has a value to it, whether it's even a penny card, a card that's a quarter, a card that's $10, $100, $1,000. They all have a value. And it's the same thing when it comes to opening boxes. Yes, the business is completely different now than when I was younger, because when I was younger, the most expensive pack was pretty much 85 cents. Now you could buy packs that are $5,000, $10,000 for just a pack of cards like National Treasure. So the game is completely different. But again, when I was younger, I didn't have the chance at pulling $1 million card like you do now. Because
Right.
you pull a logo man, like right now, even the LeBron triple logo man, I think it sold for $3 million. So, you could buy that box for $5,000 and get lucky and hit something like that changes your life.
Yeah, I think that's part of the appeal, but it's like also kind of a gambling aspect of it to it too. And
It is.
um mm, but I see what you're saying though, because aside from the physical value of it, like as a fan boy or fangirl of a team or a player, or it's your home city or whatever, you know, um, it's a part of the experience of being there and um, rooting for your team or your player, and it's also something that has value monetarily and not just like sentimentally.
Well, and some of it is like a sentimental value because you might like a player that somebody doesn't like. You go to a card show and you find that card for $3. That $3 doesn't mean anything to you, but now you own that card that, means a heck of a lot more to you than $3.
Right.
It happens to me all the time. I go through dollar boxes, $3 boxes that for somebody it's junk, but for me it's something that goes in my personal collection. That means way more to me than dollar, $3, $10, whatever it costs me. You go just like Chantilly, you interact with some of the athletes that, you maybe didn't like before, but your interaction with them, wow, that's a nice guy. I'm going to start looking to collect him personally now. And it's little interactions like that that, you know, drive this business because, you know, we could go to the mall or gas station tonight and you could have a celebrity right next to you that changes your day, that treats you great, or vice versa, treats you horribly, and you were a fan of that person. And now, instead of those cards that you were collecting as a personal collection, now you're like, you know what, this guy was a jerk to me. I'm going to sell them, and I don't care what I get for them. So it goes both ways when it comes to that.
Mm. Hmm.
That's one thing I tell everybody. If you're a big fan of somebody, try not to meet them in person because your standards for them are way up here. And if they let you down in any way possible,
That's funny. Yeah,
worst things. It's happened to me multiple times.
never meet your idols, right? That's funny.
Never meet your idols. Assume they're great.
Yeah.
And some are. Like I've met multiple that are fantastic people, makes you like them even more. But then I've met some that were complete jerks and you no longer are a fan of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It just takes all kinds, I suppose. It's like we there's the humanity of it, you know. It's just maybe that person was having a bad day or something, or it could have just been any multiple factors that go into that kind of a thing. Or maybe they're just more introverted, or um oftentimes like uh, people that are public figures are kind of targets for stuff because they're in that arena. So um it's important to have that protection for them, you know. And it's self-protection too, you know, if they're like, you know, don't talk to me, like, I don't know. It could be any kind of, it could be anything. It just depends. I don't know why. I don't know. Because some people are like that and they're not even famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess it just really it's all relative because we're all human beings and we all have our like foibles and our ups and downs, and um I think in general most of us try to do our best to be good people, you know, and do like the, the best we can, be like kind to others and stuff. Um, hmm. I would hope that that doesn't happen to people, but it does. And I don't know.
Unfortunately, it does. But, you know, like I always tell everybody, I go, kind of what you said. Could be having a bad day. You never know what happened before. You don't know how they were treated before. And sometimes you kind of have to overlook it.
I think oftentimes they're because they've had this idea of who this person is like built up in their head for so long that when they do meet them, like it's more magnified whatever they do or say. So um like if something does happen that kind of throws someone off, then they're more apt to will be, you know, magnify that experience. So like you say, oh, screw that person because he didn't want to sign my card, or you know he folded it and threw it back at me or something like that. Whatever. Uh, I don't know. I'm not the type to just spout off and speak without really thinking about what I want to have to say. And uh, I guess some of that goes to just human relations and public relations and with some of those experiences, but um, I guess the more that we can like deliver really top quality mental health services for everyone, then I think that would help mitigate and like minimize some of that. But I don't know. I feel like we've all been collectively going through a lot of trauma with COVID, so that has something to do with it. Like just the uh, cat's out of the bag or whatever. Like just anything goes these days. So um, I think that might be another factor to it too.